This is Dan Tortora here of Wake Up Call with John Iceman Scully here at the International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. How you doing, John?
Having a great time.
So you and I we're talking a little bit off the air here, just what it means to you to come back to events like this and be able to, reminisce with people and cross paths with some guys.
I mean, I love it just because I know I'm gonna see friends of mine from the game, guys I grew up with in the amateurs, and I'm also gonna see champions that I never met, and it's gonna be incredible. And even a couple nights ago at the weigh-in for the fights, a guy was there in the audience, and he came up to me, he had his son with him, and he said, in 1998 in Ottawa, Canada, you were in a mall sparring with Otis Grant, and I was a kid, and I asked you for an autograph, and he said, you told me, nah, you don't want a piece of paper, I'll give me your address and I'll mail you something. And I said, did I mail it to you? He goes, yeah, you mailed it. That's all good. And so it was cool. I hung out with him at the fights, after the fights for like half hour. So stuff like that. It's a really cool event. The vibe is really cool.
And you talk about the fights, your boxer, Clay Waterman from Australia, had his American debut.
Yeah.
He won and he was on Showtime.
Right.
Just what that experience was like for you to, have him right there next to you and to be connected to him, especially in such a momentous moment to get his first win when it came to the
Right.
first American debut win.
Right. Well, yeah, that was the thing. I kept telling him before the fight, I'm like, listen, this has been your dream. Like, since you were an amateur, this is your dream. I go, it's here right now. You have to produce right now. You're going to make history for yourself. And there's only one American debut. You only get to do it one time.
Yeah.
And so I kind of was on that theme in the corner and everything. And he responded well, and I thought he put on a really good performance.
To have him on Showtime, so not only his American debut
Right.
and not only a victory, but to do it on Showtime
Right.
and to have the world get to see that.
Yeah.
Just what you thought that experience was like for not just Clay, but for your team as a whole.
It's huge because, boxing is a funny game. Like, you have a lot of good fighters, but if they don't get the opportunity to be on TV and then shine on TV, well, they're going to still be anonymous. And, when I met Clay a few months ago, he was in camp with Betabayev, and I started talking to him, and I said, maybe I can help you. And I hooked him up with Dimitri Salita, who was the promoter of the show, and he literally, in one night, changed his whole life. He changed his whole career. Like, he was I'd never heard of Clay until I met him in the training camp. And I asked him, I said, man, how come you're a good fighter? Like, how come I've never heard of you? He said, well, I don't really have a promoter. And I said, let me talk to some people. And I called Dimitri. I knew Dimitri since he was a kid. And Dimitri liked what he saw on tape. He put him on. And now, Clay's a lot more well-known today than he was 2 days ago.
And what can you say about what a victory on Showtime can do for his career now?
Oh, it's incredible. Everybody's watching. Plus Hall of Fame weekend. You had all the fighters were there. The big stars are there. Ray Mercer was there. Ray Mercer actually came up to him after the fight in the dressing room and gave him words of encouragement. And so Clay was in awe of that. You need the opportunity. It's not just a fight. It's where the fight is. It's who's there, who's watching. And we had a lot of heavy hitters in the audience, promoters, managers, TV executives. So he couldn't. His night couldn't have went any better.
How did you come across him? How did you guys cross paths?
Like I said, he was in camp with Betabayev.
Yeah.
He was sparring with Arthur, and and I was saying to him, like, wow, you're really good. Like, your jab is world class. Like, you've got skills.
Yeah.
How come I've never heard of you? It's amazing. And he said, well, I don't really have a promoter, and I'm just not out there like that. And like I said, I told him, hey, maybe if I can help you, I'll let me have your number, and maybe I can help you.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. That's how we met.
So for you, what can you say about kind of where you go from here with him? Will you continue to work with him from here?
Yeah, I think he was happy with it. I think they want me to. I would, from what I gather from talking to them. I think I'm going to talk to Dimitri and see what Dimitri thought. I would have to think he was impressed, and maybe he'll want to give him another opportunity. I would think Showtime was happy with his performance. So, like I said, his position in the game today is a million times more visible than it was 48 hours ago. That's how fast things can change. So he's a somebody now.
Why do you pay it forward? I mean, you had your successes, you did things, you come to places like, International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend, and people remember you and know you and come up and tell you those stories from years ago or decades ago.
Yeah.
Why do you pay it forward with guys like Clay? Why do you want to help other boxers?
I mean, it's like, I like it. I like helping the guys. I like, it's amazing to me that I'm in a position where I could help somebody. Like, it's bizarre to me that I know people. It's kind of because I always, growing up in boxing, watching fights on TV, if I saw a trainer, even a guy I never heard of, if I saw a trainer on TV working the corner, as far as I was concerned, he was famous. Like, he's on TV, he's a somebody in the boxing game. And so for me to be in a position to help these guys and, do some of the things bigger than what I ever did, I love that. I love, Clay's a nice kid. I love to help him. And so if I can help, I'll help.
For you, in the world of training and coaching and pulling something out of guys, do you have, I know everybody's different, every boxer's different, but do you have kind of a system that you lean on that you really feel like works to expose weaknesses and to find the strengths?
Well, I'm very big on the mentality of not just boxing, but just in life. I'm big in my relationships with friends and my wife, and she gets annoyed with me sometimes, but I'm big on the mentality. And I'll tell people through boxing, through what I've learned about people as fighters, I'll tell people why they do certain things, why they don't do certain things. And I know because I've learned so much about human nature and tendencies through boxing. So I'm big on the mentality, and I think that's my forte. If I have a forte as a trainer, I think that's what it is. I can reach people mentally, and I can bring them up to a higher level. So far that's worked for me.
So where do we go from here? I know we talked about Clay Waterman, but what's next for Iceman?
I've got to go to camp very soon with Arthur Beterbiev. He's fighting Callum Smith in the middle of August in Quebec City, defending the title. And every fight for Arthur now is huge. Trying to not jeopardize the potential fight with Bivol or maybe even Canelo. So Arthur's already training. He's already getting ready, and we're getting ready to go back together as a team very soon.
Before I let you go, as a trainer, like you said, you get to be in that corner, and you used to watch it on TV and say, like, if you saw a trainer there, you thought no matter who they are, they're famous because they're right there in the ring, right? So you know what it's like to be in the ring as a boxer. Right. When you're in the ring as a trainer and you're right there, do you get that feeling back again when you're right by the ropes and you're training another guy and you're helping them out? Does the feeling come back that when you touch the ring, does it all come back, or how do you experience it?
Well, I'll tell you a funny thing. A couple years ago, a guy said to me, he goes, you know what I noticed? He goes, every time you get in the ring with one of your fighters, you start bouncing on your toes like you're gonna fight. And I knew he was right, because I catch myself doing it. Most trainers get in the ring and they're flat-footed, they stand there, but I get in, I start cracking my neck, and I, like it's a fight. So every time I'm in a ring, I'm in the mindset of a fighter, and I think that's kind of a forte also. I've always said I'm not a trainer who trains boxers. I'm a boxer who trains boxers. I relate to them on that level, and that's why even when I get in the ring, I bounce. I guess because I feel like we're fighting together. We're a team, and I know what you're going through, and I'm going to go through it with you.
The inductees for this year, for 2023, any thoughts on the class that's coming in?
I'm a little disappointed, honestly, and I don't want to insult people, but I always say Marlon Starling is not in the Hall of Fame. Marlon Starling is not on the ballot. There is no one going in this year who had more accomplishments than Marlon Starling. I don't care what anyone on earth says. They didn't beat the level of competition he beat. They didn't have the longevity that he had. Marlon Starling is not on the ballot, and people are going in ahead of him. I'm very disappointed. I'm very irritated with that. I think they need to revamp the whole system, because people are getting in, and not that they don't deserve it, but doesn't make sense to get in not only before people who also deserve to get in big time, but they're not even on the ballot. That Marlon Starling not being on the ballot is a crime against boxing. It's somebody should investigate why that even is happening. So I'm a little irritated with that, but other than that, it's pretty fun.